Hey everyone, so today we're going to get into the story of how a machine learned to talk, to think, and to create kind of like a human. But this is so much more than just a story about code. This is the incredible story of ChatGPT.
Okay, so to really get this, let's rewind the clock a bit. For decades, we had computers that were absolute wizards with numbers and logic. But when it came to understanding language, they were totally lost. I mean, they were powerful, for sure, but rigid. You couldn't just talk to them. And that was the fundamental problem, right? How do you get a machine to understand our messy, nuanced, and frankly, ambiguous world of human language?
Well, the old way of doing things was to manually program AI with a huge list of rules. Think of it like a giant, super complicated flowchart for every single possibility. But this rule-based AI was brittle. The second it saw something it hadn't been explicitly taught, it would just break. The breakthrough came from a totally different idea. What if, instead of force-feeding it rules, we just let it learn from massive amounts of data? You know, kind of like we do.
And this is where the story pivots from being just a technical problem to a very human one. A group of thinkers got together to form OpenAI, and their goal wasn't just to build a clever chatbot. It was to help steer the future of intelligence itself.
So, founded back in 2015 by some of the biggest names in tech, OpenAI started with this really powerful and, let's be honest, pretty necessary mission. They believed that a truly intelligent AI would be one of the most powerful inventions in history, and they wanted to make absolutely sure that power was developed safely and for the good of everyone.
So, with that mission crystal clear, they needed the right technology to pull it off. And that led them to a revolutionary new architecture that would totally change how we think about AI and language. Let's just break down that name, GPT. It stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Generative just means it can create new stuff, new text. Pre-trained means it's already learned from a massive library of information. And Transformer, well, that's the real magic here. It's a special kind of neural network that's amazing at paying attention to context, understanding how words relate to each other, even in really long sentences. This is what lets it go beyond just memorizing things to actually understanding relationships between ideas.
And the growth has just been staggering. I mean, just look at this timeline. The key thing to see here is parameters. You can kind of think of these as the internal connections in the AI's brain. The more parameters, the deeper and more nuanced its understanding of language becomes. We went from 117 million to over 175 billion in just a few years. And this crazy leap unlocked what researchers call emergent properties, these unexpected abilities the AI was never even trained for, like doing basic math or writing computer code.
Okay, so we've got this huge, powerful model, but how do you actually train it to be helpful and accurate and safe? It turns out it's a pretty fascinating three-step journey.
So first, it starts with pre-training. This is where the AI basically reads a huge chunk of the internet to learn the fundamentals, grammar, facts, all that stuff. Then comes fine-tuning, where actual human reviewers chat with it to help shape its tone and correctness. And finally, you have the secret sauce, reinforcement learning. Humans rank different AI-generated answers, essentially giving the model a thumbs up for good responses and a thumbs down for bad ones. It's a lot like teaching a dog with treats. It learns really fast what kinds of answers we humans find most helpful.
So after all that intense training, it was finally time to release it to the world. On November 30th, 2022, OpenAI made ChatGPT public. And what happened next? Well, nobody could have predicted just how big it would be. The reaction was nothing short of explosive. It hit 1 million users in just 5 days. To put that into perspective for you, it took a giant like Netflix 3.5 years to get to that same milestone. Just 5 days.
But it didn't stop there. It didn't even slow down. The momentum just kept building until it crossed a mind-blowing 100 million users in about 2 months. That's not just fast, it's one of the fastest-growing technologies in history. The world was obviously ready for it.
And people immediately knew what to do with it. It became this instant assistant for, well, pretty much everyone. Students were using it for homework help, developers were using it to write code, writers were using it to get past writer's block. Suddenly it was everywhere, this incredibly powerful tool for productivity and creativity.
Okay, so with all of this incredible hype, it's really important to take a step back and get a balanced view. Let's talk about what this tool is genuinely great at, and just as importantly, where its limits are.
I mean, its capabilities are incredibly broad. It can act like a tutor, explaining really complex topics in simple terms. It can be a creative partner, helping you write an email, a poem, whatever you need. For developers, it can generate and debug code. It's this powerful assistant that can brainstorm, translate, and summarize, all on command.
But, and this part is absolutely critical, we have to understand what it can't do. It does not think. It doesn't feel. It has no consciousness or beliefs. And because of that, it can be confidently wrong, a problem people sometimes call hallucinating. It can also reflect the biases that are present in all the data it was trained on. And that's why human oversight and human verification are absolutely non-negotiable. You still have to check its work.
You know, maybe the best way to think about it is this. ChatGPT isn't here to replace us. It's more like a mirror, reflecting the vast collective knowledge of humanity that we fed into it. It's a tool designed to understand us, to assist us, and ultimately to amplify our own thinking.
And that really leaves us with the most important question of all. As this technology gets even more powerful, its story is no longer just about code and data. Its story becomes our story. The real question isn't just about what it's capable of, but about our choices, our ethics, and the kind of future we want to build with it.